So, hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Jonnychipz Weekly. My name is John Lunn, aka Jonnychipz, and it is Friday, the 16th of September 2021. This is episode number 88, 1.21. So, hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Jonnychipz Weekly. Usual format this week. We've got a whole heap of Azure updates to get through. So, let's get cracking on and let's do some community call outs. So, let's get on with that first up. So, in case you've been living under a rock over the last week or so, Microsoft Ignite registration is now open. So, head on over to the Microsoft Ignite registration page, get yourself registered. I believe there's a few options. You can either try and attend the in-person event in Seattle, or I think locally there are spotlight sessions. So I'm personally going to try and attend the spotlight session, which is an in-person event based up in Manchester in the UK. There's also the digital virtual experience as well that you can register for. So without further ado, I suggest if you are interested in joining, jump on over to the Ignite website and get ready for October the 12th to the 14th and get yourself registered. See you there. Next up, a bit of a shout out for Ryan Murphy. He's got a new podcast out at the moment, basically all around things Microsoft 365 governance compliance. So if you're not following, they're on episode 2 at the moment. So that was released only last week, early last week, I think. Go and check that out. Episode 2 is all about data classification and data connectors. He's got it covered from YouTube, Anchor, Spotify. So go and give him a follow if you're not already. Ryan John Murphy 4 on the Twitters, and his co-host is Nikki Chappelle as well. So go and follow Nikki because she'll be retweeting things out about that. But if you can, go and give it a listen and let us know what you think. So thanks for that, guys. That's awesome. Next up, I managed to catch the last 45 minutes or so of the IoT Live episode this week, which was great. Last week, yeah, what are we on? Friday today, of course. Last week, and it's great to see. So Pete is doing a live blogging experience with the Read terminal, looking to get Octo Print onto the Read terminal. So he's done great strides to get that on there at the moment. I think he's gone for the straightforward install with the plugin for the to modify the UI, so it's more of a touch feel, which is in existence, but I know he's looking to modify that. So it's really interesting to watch exactly how he goes about that, developing plugins, using existing plugins, all suited for a small terminal device that you can kind of just hook onto the side of your 3D printer if that's something that you want to do. So yeah, great show as always this week. Just seen IO Trois live, which is fine. But yeah, so go and give that a watch. It's there on the Azure Live Twitch TV channel if you've missed it. But yeah, great show. Thanks for that. Next up, thanks for this, Jason. Jason Haley has retweeted out a great curated playlist of lots of videos on Azure Container Apps. So he's got a curated playlist at the minute with 114 videos, which is great to see. If you are interested in learning more about Azure Container Apps, go and follow Jason on Twitter and grab his link for this playlist. Haley Jason. But yeah, thanks for that. That's marvellous. Thanks, Jason. Next up, just call out again for the Azure Cloud Native session from Christina Devochko on the 20th of September. So yeah, next week. Talking about her AKS journey. So, I think it's fair to say that AKS, Kubernetes in general, let alone AKS, is becoming more and more prevalent. I think it's fair to say my own personal learnings are being drip-fed at the moment, little bits here, little bits there. But yeah, it's great to see somebody when they go into learning Kubernetes. So Christina's going to do a session on the AKS Survival Pack, what to consider before going all in with Azure Kubernetes Service. Bookmark that, go and get yourselves RSVP'd. Chris the Coding U1. Chris the Coding U1 on Twitter if you want to go and follow Christina, or head on over to the Azure Cloud Native user group and get yourselves RSVP'd for that. So yeah, looking forward to that one. Next up, Mert of the Future is back again, and this time it's with Mohammed Sajid. Mohammed is on talking all things around Microsoft Defender of Cloud, so that security element of cloud that we can turn on for our estates in the cloud. Yeah, Mert has had him on this week, so only yesterday actually, so it's there available again on the Azure Live Twitch TV channel. Go and give that a watch if you've missed it. And yeah, I did miss it, so I'm going to go and give that a watch, so thanks for that. Looking forward to watching that one back. Next up, yeah, been following Jack and the awesome work him and his team are doing at the moment in terms of Azure landing zones, Bicep, Terraform, all of that good stuff. There's a whole heap of activity going on constantly on this repository. Just calling out that the Architect Center has now got the new Azure Enablement Show and the AES videos all about Azure Landing Zone Bicep. So if you want to go and check those out, head on over to the Architect Center and look for the Landing Zones area on Bicep, and they're all there to be found. If not, follow Jack_ref on Twitter and go and get the links for yourself. So thanks for that, Jack. Great work. And finally, yeah, looking forward to this. Being invited onto a Come Cloud With Us Ask the Expert session as a bit of a response to Ignite. So that's going to be happening on October the 20th. So the week after, effectively, Ignite takes place. Just a bit of a question and answer. What did we spot at Ignite? What stood out for us? What we're looking forward to using? That sort of stuff. So you can see I've been asked on with some awesome folk across the community. So really looking forward to joining those peeps and having a chat about Ignite in a month's time. So there we go. Yes, so just quick whistle stop for our community callouts this week. I just noticed that we can't have that. That's terrible on my image there. What's going on? Got a big gap by the side of me. Good old green screen. Yeah, so anyway, let's jump on back over now. Let's take a quick look at the Welsh Azure user group news. So again, our next session for this month is on the 21st of September. We got the awesome Victor Hedberg coming on to talk about tiering in Azure. How should we do it properly? So if you don't know what tiering is, join us for that session. Victor's going to talk us through, the best ways to do it to control our security and governance and make sure that we've got everything in check and that kind of stuff. So really looking forward to that session. Then we have Joe Plum and Muna Mohammed joining us, double teaming us on Azure Data Factory. So looking at all the different types of triggers in Azure Data Factory. Going to be a really interesting session. I've done very little personally with that. So again, really looking forward to that session to see what that's all about. So if you can join us, 21st of September, starting at 6:30 p.m. BST. Jump on over to the meetup group or follow me, follow the @Welsh Azure on Twitter. Get the link. Please do RSVP. Get yourselves bookmarked in and registered for that event, and look forward to seeing you there. But yeah, like I say, this will be our second year anniversary event, actually. So that's 2 years that the Welsh Show user group has been going in its current guise. So yeah, come and join us and say hello. If you have missed any sessions, as always, drop down to the playlist below. Again, last month's session was fantastic with Rolf and Dee, but you can see we've got the whole heap of sessions that we've been carrying out over the last 2 years. So please do, if you have missed any session, go back through our little archive section there and have a little look at some of the awesome sessions we've had over the last couple of years. So thanks for that. Okay, and yeah, just a brief on the side this week, just with a few bits and pieces that I've got going on the side. Let's take a quick look. So yeah, first up, we had to postpone last week's session of When Ops Meets Dev purely because I'd just come back from holiday. Likewise, Swami had just moved flats. Robbie was engrossed with work, so we just felt that we didn't have a collective, enough time to kind of prepare and make sure we delivered a good session on last Friday's show. So we had a bit of a reconvene. We've had a catch up this week. We're going to do it tonight, so join us from 5 p.m. BST tonight if you can. Architecting that cloud-native e-commerce, that solution. We're pretty much at the end of the infrastructure piece now. And I think tonight we're going to go through the last few bits and pieces before we start moving on to the front-end development of the actual application. So we've got our storage, our back-end. We've looked at Kubernetes. We've looked at testing Docker locally. We've looked at Azure Container Apps. Like I say, we've looked at Kubernetes and AKS. to run our microservices. We've got our initial product API. We've got our storage set up. Now it's just a case of moving through the APIs and, of course, starting to look at the front end development using those microservices. So, look, if you are available, come and join us. It's going to be a fun episode tonight again. Lots to go through, but that's a really good set of videos. So please do come and join us tonight. Equally, it is Friday. We've not got a new episode tonight. Shock horror of In Conversation With. Now, I've been having to think about this. Firstly, big shout out to my my awesome guest last week that was Keith Atherton. If you missed it, please do go and watch that one back. It was a great episode with Keith, talking all about our careers, our learning potential. How do we go about learning and certification and that kind of stuff? So please do go and take a look at that. But yeah, I mean, look, over the last couple of years now, I've had some fantastic guests, and I really want to shout out to every one of them. And I'm thinking of a way to call everybody out at the moment. But I am slowing down on the In Conversation With. I've not got any more guests booked in now. I'd like to do one or two. I think I might tone it down to maybe a guest a month, something along those lines, to keep that ticking over. But yeah, I'm looking to change up the video series a bit. I've got some interesting news coming up over the next month or so. So there's no spoilers at the moment, but that will become apparent over the next month or so, and you'll understand why I've toned that down. But yeah, I'm looking to keep the video series going, but just at a bit of a slower cadence. So if you are interested to join me on that show as a guest, please do reach out. I'm not going to push it as hard as I was before. So like I say, so far it's been such an amazing journey. I think I'm up around the 90 videos with all the awesome people across the community. So huge thank you to each and every one of you that has joined me on the episodes. Like I say, I'm going to think of something to do to kind of revitalize all the awesome videos that I got there. If you've not seen them, go and check them out. They're in the playlist below In Conversation With. So that's probably about enough for me for the time being on the side. Let's head on back over to my big face. Okay, so news and updates this week. There have been an absolute amazing amount of updates this week. So let's not make a big song and dance about it. Let's just get straight on in and do the Azure news and updates for the week. And hello and welcome to the Azure News and Updates part of the show. So, yeah, like I said, there's been a significant number of updates this week, lots of pulled updates. So, without further ado, let's just jump straight in. I'm not going to read these through verbatim. We'll just whistle-stop tour over a lot of them. So, we'll kick things off then with a general availability item with standard networking features for Azure NetApp files are now generally available. Microsoft have announced the GA of the standard networking features for Azure NetApp files volumes. And they provide us with enhanced and consistent virtual network experience, along with keeping that security posture for Azure NetApp files. So you can choose between basic or standard features while using that service. So check that out. Check the article out about the actual intricacies of what's involved and what's not involved. But that's a great GA announcement there. Another one, Azure dedicated host support for ultra disk storage has now gone generally available. We've got Azure Sphere OS version 2209 is expected in a few days' time. So if you are using Azure Sphere, then there's a new version coming out in a few days' time. So I'm sure you'll be getting prepared for that anyway. Public preview, encrypt managed disks with cross-tenant customer managed keys. I saw this the other day, actually. This is quite an interesting concept. So if you do have a customer managed key that you're keeping in one tenant, you can use that to encrypt managed disks in other tenants. So it's great to see that's a public preview announcement. If that's something of interest to you, go and check that out. GA announcement, API management DevOps resource toolkit version 1.0, which is interesting. So easy deploy APIs in a CI/CD pipeline with API management DevOps resource toolkit, and extracts APIs from one service so they can be applied to another service. So cool to see. There's a little download link there if you're interested in looking at what that's all about. Go and check it out. That's GA. Another GA announcement, built-in Azure Monitor alerts for Azure Backup. Awesome to see. We've got a public preview gRPC support in Azure App Service, so using that remote procedure call framework to allow those messaging between client and server over HTTP. So using gRPC protocol over HTTP2 allows use of features like multiplexing to send multiple parallel requests over the same connection. This feature is enabled for Linux workloads across the app service. Next up, generally available action groups can now be saved and processed within Europe. So action groups can now be saved in the following European regions in addition to the default global regions. So Sweden Central and Germany West Central. So when you create those action groups, you can now select that when you do that part. Generally available update on metric alert rules on custom metrics. So again, with that concept of saving the actual the data on that rather than just using the global region, you can use North, West Europe, West Sweden Central, Germany West Central as well. Public preview monitoring for Ampere Ultra ARM-based VMs and AKS clusters is in public preview. We've got the soft delete capability in Azure Container Registry is now in public preview. So, once you've enabled that feature, the deleted artifact is stored in a recycle bin for a number of days. It's a configurable setting, so you can restore the artifact if you've accidentally removed that from your registry. Cool, we've got a public preview announcement, Operation Abort. So that's all to do with AKS, Azure Kubernetes Services. So it can abort in the middle of an operation. It's not a graceful end to the operation. It'll stop whatever's going on there and then. So once completed, the cluster provisioning state will enter a cancelled state. Public preview, Azure Network Policy Manager for Windows Server 2022 in AKS. And we've got another public preview announcement that Azure load testing is available in UK South under public preview if that's of interest to you. GA multi-instance GPU support in AKS. So lots of AKS announcements this week if you're interested. And a public preview feature, Azure database for MySQL Flexible Server major version upgrade. Okay. File restore for Azure database for PostgreSQL is gone GA. Fast restore, I should say. And we've also got more around the Azure database for MySQL Flexible Server data encryption with a customer managed key. That's GA as well. Next up, GA Replica, read Replica for Azure database for MySQL. Cool, lots of MySQL. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of database C type updates going on this week. Public preview, API server VNet integration for the AKS private cluster, which is an interesting one. So VNet integration for AKS private clusters. Okay. Generally available reserve capacity for Azure backup storage. Okay, let's have a quick look at this one. So save up to 24% on your usage of Azure backup storage by purchasing reserved capacity storage. Reservation discount will automatically apply to your matching backup storage, and the process of purchasing a reservation is streamlined. Reservations are available on a 1-year basis for up to 16% discount, or on a 3-year basis for 24% discount. Interesting. If you are using a lot of capacity for your backups, check that out. Azure Media Services low latency live streaming has now gone GA. Yeah, Azure Media Services is one of those services that I've really wanted to look into and never had time to go and check that out. So interesting to see that there are lots of new features in there. So there's low latency, offers glass to glass latency as low as 4 seconds with any player capable of supporting Apple's low latency specification. That's absolutely fantastic. And finally, generally available resizing of peered virtual networks. Okay, so updating the address space for a peered virtual network is now generally available. So the feature allows you to update the address space or resize a peered virtual network without removing that initial peering. So users often want to resize or update the IP address of their virtual networks as they grow their footprint in Azure. So we can now resize our virtual networks to meet their needs without any downtime. So this feature allows you to easily resize your virtual networks without the need to remove that peering in advance. Awesome stuff and great to see. So there we go. That has been our news and updates for this week. Okay, so yeah, thanks everybody for joining me this week. It's been a quick whistle-stop tour. Lots going on with me at the moment still. Like I say, I've got some news coming out in the next month or so, so stick around for that. Interesting things that are going on in my life. Yeah, thanks everybody for watching. Catch you next week. But for now, I've been John Lunn. See you all very soon. Have a great weekend.